In this video we've got a Mercury 4-stroke EFI. This is the 60 horsepower, about 2003, and we're going to do an impeller change. I've got a full water pump rebuild kit, so we'll remove the lower unit and then replace the water pump. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to trim the engine up. With the power on, we've got a switch here, and we'll just trim the engine right up so we can get access to the bolts on the lower unit. That's it. So now we can get access to these bolts here. So we've got one here, one here, one here, one here, and likely we've got a one hidden under this trim tab here. So in all, it looks like we've got 5 bolts. And we've also got this pickup tube for the speed. So we'll disconnect that there. Otherwise, when we pull the lower unit out, we run the risk of snapping that hose. So we've got a 16mm socket, and we're just going to take the trim tab off first to see what bolts we've got hidden underneath. Just remove the trim tab and we can go ahead and look up inside, and as you can see we've got another bolt or a nut on a stud hidden there. So there's 5 in total, well 6 if you take the trim tab into consideration, but 5 fasteners holding the lower unit on. This is a splined shift shaft, so as long as the engine's in neutral and your lower unit's in neutral, you take those 5 bolts out, the lower unit should just slide straight off. So we'll do the last 4 now. I'll take 3 out, we'll leave 1 on, we'll just crack it, and just so if it does fall, we don't lose it. So we've got all but 1 of the bolts out now, so as you can see I've just taken a few turns back so the washer's free, and now we can start giving it a few taps around on this ventilation plate and around these other bits, just to try and break the joint free. So we leave 1 bolt in just so if it does fall out all of a sudden, we don't lose it. It's onto grass on here, but if it's onto concrete, you would damage the skeg or crack the lower unit. So I found that the 4 outer ones in the trim tab there, 16, and the internal one on the stud, that was a 15. After a few taps there, I've got a gap opening up, so I'm happy now that it's free from the power head. So we'll take that last bolt out there and we'll be able to remove it and place it into our workbench to work on the water pump. So we've got the lower unit off now, and we've got it in the vise. So we've got the gear shifter, which like I said was a spline, it's a twist. We've got the power shaft here, it's the water pump, and then we've got the sort of the exhaust outlet which goes down through the hub and the water inlet. So now we've got the full water pump rebuild kit. We'll go ahead and we'll take the cover off, we'll have a look at the pump and we'll see what's going on. So the first thing we'll do, we've got the 4 bolts here. These are 10mm socket, so we'll whiz these off, then we can take the upper housing off and check the impeller. So I've taken the 4 bolts off. You can see the wear plate there, and I've just got the impeller housing here. The impeller's looking mostly intact. Won't know for sure until we get it out, and we'll have a look at the blades. But like I said, I've got a full rebuild kit, so even this upper housing as well, which has this this like wear cup inside. So we'll pop it all out. We've got the new gaskets and everything for the bottom here as well, and then we'll rebuild the pump and see if we can see anything on the intake side or anything like that could be causing a blockage. So we've got the impeller out. We're just looking at it next to the new one here, and we've got some on the tips here, some excessive wear on them. We're not losing material, but they're certainly not how a new one looks. So just a bit of background, this engine we believe is suffering from overheat at higher RPM because we're getting a solid constant alarm. So we're suspecting the water pump needs changing, but we're going to have a look at a few other things as well, like the thermostat, but we're concentrating on the water pump today. So we've got the old one out, and we've got a few extra bits. We've got gaskets, the new water pump housing, pickup tubes and everything. So we'll go ahead now. We'll strip it back again. We've got this plate to take off, and then we'll start the rebuild. So to get to this wear plate, we've got to take these 2 other bolts out and this little collar here, which is like a little bush for the shifter. So we'll take that off. We can whiz these 2 out, and we should be able to lift the whole thing off now and then start the rebuild. So we've taken the bush off, we've taken the 2 bolts off there, and we can lift up the plate now. and underneath we can see the water inlet from the water inlet on the casing there. Obviously, got the lip seals here for the drive shaft and the shifter. So we can go ahead and we can clean up all this now, and then we can get the new plates put back in. Right, so we've cleaned up all the face there, and we put the new gasket on. Just a bit of like sort of salt build up and old gasket remaining on there, but it's all looking good so far. So we're going to start with the base gasket, and that's it there from the pack. It's a Quicksilver. If you're not sure of the orientation, the one that you've taken off, just try and match it with that. So that's the base gasket on, and I've just put that sort of exhaust spacer on as well. Now we can get the wear plate. We'll put that over the top, and we can start building our way back up and then reinstalling. Okay, so we got the wear plate on. I've just put the 2 front bolts in, but they're not snugged down, so the plate still moves, so we can align our bolt holes. Cleaned up this bush here, or spacer, put some grease on, and then we've got the top gasket on. So we can now get the new pump body, the new impeller, and we've got the keyway as well, which locks the impeller to the shaft. So for installing the impeller on this engine, what I like to do is I like to slide the impeller down first over the shaft. When we get to here, we're going to put the woodruff key in, and then we're going to lock the impeller to the shaft, and then I like to slide the housing down over the top. I know some people like to do it the other way and they put the impeller in the housing first, but I find it really hard to try and align things, and with a brand new impeller, some people say because the blades might go in the wrong way and then they've got to flip around. I've never ever in the 15-16 years I've been doing this had an impeller blade snap off because of this. If they're getting changed frequently, 100 hours or every year, then you shouldn't have an issue at all with it. It's when you start reusing used impellers, the blades have like a memory to them. So just the way I do it, never had an issue, and I'll show you how we do that now. So just slip the impeller on there, and you can see I've put the woodruff key or the keyway in there. Now a little tip is, you can see this one, you can do it from either side. You can see the little indent there. Now normally a blade lines up with the indent, so as long as you can keep an eye on a certain blade like this one, it should just slip straight down and on. There we go, slight rotation there, it's locked. So what you don't want is for it to be misaligned or the woodruff key to pop out. You don't notice it because it could fall down that hole there, and then when the power head starts spinning, that just stays still, and you have to strip the whole engine lower unit down again to get to it. So with that in and the woodruff key in place, we can now push over the brand new impeller housing. Sometimes you can put a bit of sort of silicone spray on just to ease it in. So I think that's what I'll do. I've got some WD-40, just a light spray. So one thing I forgot to put in, so I'll just take them off, is I've got 2 little seals. One sits on the bottom, one sits on the top. Just acts a bit like a spacer for the water pump. It doesn't directly say that's what they're for, but I can't see anything else, and it's the right diameter for the shaft. And it came in the kit, so that's where they're going to go. It's going to do no harm. So like I say, we've got the one on the base there. We've got the impeller here. We'll slide this down over the woodruff key. Got the other one here, and we'll slide that one down, and that seals and sits in the top of the impeller there. When I took it off, it didn't have any, so it might be a modification, like an improvement to the engine's design. So we got the water pump housing here, and we're just going to give it a firm push down, and that's it seated. And then we'll align all the gaskets back up, and we'll get the 4 bolts in, not forgetting to tighten down these 2 as well. There's the new pump housing all installed. So that's as much as we can do on the lower unit. We also have a new pickup tube, coupling water tube to fit, and then we can get this mounted back onto the engine. So with the water pickup tube, this is it here. Looking inside the lower unit, we've got the original one. We can pull that out, and we can reinstall the new one. No tools required, just a push fit. And then if we look at this bit here, that fits directly onto there, on there like that, and that's obviously, then there's a pickup tube in the engine which delivers the water. These can wear out. It's a place where you can lose pressure, water flow, so it comes with a new one. I have heard stories that there is a grommet at the top of the water pickup tube at the base of the power head, which can swell over time, cause a massive restriction in water flow. I'm hoping that's not the case. I can't really find much more on it about it online. It's the very early models, but it was mainly replaced after over 22 years, I suppose. If this is an 03, it's likely that it's been done. From what I've been told, they only lasted about 4 or 5 years before the issue developed. The hours on the engine I'm unsure of. We haven't got a SmartCraft display unit for this engine. It's literally just a tacho and a speedo. So yeah, I think we're ready to reinstall the lower unit back onto the engine. Put a little bit of grease on the top there and on the shifter, and because we haven't changed the position of this spline or this spline here or rotated the engine, this should all just slide in within a few degrees. We might have to rock this just a little bit. Should all go straight, and then we get one bolt in and we're home then. And then we can sort of relax and put the rest of the bolts in at our own leisure. So that's the lower unit back on there. I've got one bolt in the bottom, so we can go ahead now and put the last 3 and the nut inside there. Everything lines up. Got a dowel pin there for locating. Just going to give the engine a test run now. Put the EMFs on a hose pipe, and we're just going to check for the temperatures on the exhaust jacket here, and that we're getting a good telltale coming out. The telltale comes through, tees off here, it comes up through the fuel cooler, and I believe it comes down to here through the low pressure fuel pump, and the outlet then comes around, and that's out through the telltale. So I've got my thermometer, so we'll just measure the temperatures on the jacket here, just make sure we're not overheating. Like I say, we haven't got a gauge on this engine to measure temperature like the SmartCraft systems on most Mercuries. So we'll go ahead and we'll fire it up now, and then we'll see what we're dealing with. So as you can see, we've got a good coolant telltale here. The prop's turning, but that's just because it's the gearbox oil's cold, and the shaft and gears is dragging the prop, like parasitic drag. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to measure the temperatures on this jacket here. The cylinder, or the block temperature, it's just measured from here on this probe here. So if we measure here, we're getting a good indication of the internal temperatures of the engine. So I've got my thermometer here, and we're just measuring on the thermostat, and as you can see, we're about 37.4, 37.9, still rising. Down at the lower part of the block, we're about 27. So we'll see if this stabilizes. I think the thermostat, I've got the details for it. I think it starts to open at about 50 to 60. I'll have to get the information and have a look. So that'll be our next step. We'll just check the thermostat. I've got a burner ring with a pan and water and a thermometer, and we'll measure that and make sure make sure it's functioning correctly. So there we have it. That's the water pump done on a Mercury 60 EFI 4-stroke. This is the 2003, remember. Not too hard, so hopefully if you've needed to do this yourself and you've followed along, you've been able to do it. So please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, if you're not a member, if you become a member, you can see all videos straight away without having to wait. Thanks for watching.